Yes, I'm aware that the Phone 2a hasn't been out for quite some time now, and today we'll see how well it performs for content creation and of course as an affordable Instagram machine. Here's a day in a life with the Nothing Phone 2a starting from Metro Manila to San Juan, La Union. Since it's a long trip, we start the day off at 3:41 a.m. Holy shit. Naturally, I scroll through YouTube while waiting for my friends to get ready to leave for the bus station. I'm loving the 120Hz refresh rate and it's got a whopping 5000 mAh battery too, but I still charge it to full just in case. So at 4:22 a.m. the phone is fully charged and it's now time to leave before my friend's dog tries to eat me. While waiting for our ride, I had the chance to try out the Phone 2a's 50-megapixel camera at low light conditions, and I was surprised that there wasn't much noise in the photos. But zooming in a bit, you'll start to lose some details and notice a lack in sharpness on some areas. Skin tones are pretty accurate though, and using the zoom lens distorts some of the images in low light, making it look kind of AI. The 32-megapixel selfie camera wasn't that great on low light either. I lost some features on my face, which I guess made my skin a bit smoother.
Morning po.
Okay, so now we are heading to the bus station. I don't know if you noticed it, but there's a bit of a jitter, which I think they call the rolling shutter, especially when walking, but you'll start to see the difference in stabilization later in daylight. Here comes the first boring part of the trip. We now have to wait for a bus to arrive, which even the people working there did not know when. Welcome to the Philippines. While waiting, I took the time to explore some of the features of this phone and of course, hang around on Instagram. I don't play mobile games, but if you're interested, I'll put the specs on the screen. The unique feature of this phone is the 3 LED bars that they call the glyphs, which depending on your settings can activate or respond through different apps and sounds coming from the phone itself. It's pretty cool, but most of the time, I don't see it anyway. We arrived there at around 4:45 and finally at 7:25 a.m. we were told to buy our tickets and finally get on the bus. Did I mention I don't own this phone? I borrowed it from a friend who's joining our trip the next day, since he's got CEO duties for today or something. Now comes the second boring part of the trip, the journey itself. It's a long bus ride that consists of pretending to look busy on Instagram, trying to avoid filming the old man beside me, bathroom breaks in the middle of nowhere, and mostly sleeping. I noticed that the 2a's camera struggles with lighting conditions, especially when you're trying to focus or zoom in on a subject. Notice how the S22 Plus can switch focus between different lighting scenarios within a snap, while the Phone 2a doesn't seem to want to adjust at all, and it looks like the driver is taking us straight to heaven on this clip. Several silent farts later, we arrived at not the beach. It's a bus stop for snacks. People really took their time at the stopover, and at noon, we finally left and the Phone 2a still had 69% battery. Nice. After a few more hours of travel and looping One Direction music, we finally arrived in La Union.
Thank you po.
Where we had to walk for a couple of minutes to get to the place we would stay at. Here's an opportunity to listen to the mic quality of this phone.
Sheep! Walk trip!
I didn't sign up for this.
Lapit na, idol.
Parang ayun na, yun again.
Notice how the phone's stabilization works better during daylight, even when zooming in. But at a slight loss of a light source, the jitters are again noticeable on screen. Or is it just me? Can you guys see it? Either way, we finally arrived at our room where the star of the show was waiting for us. This phone is a fingerprint magnet, by the way. Its 6.7-inch screen is protected by a Gorilla Glass 5, although the back is mostly see-through plastic. Since the gang was complete, we headed out for food in a place called Changu. I don't know what's more disappointing, the fact that the camera struggles to adjust in different lighting conditions, or that the beach is kind of meh. Don't get me wrong, the camera can still produce great photos and videos, although it really struggles with lighting conditions, making outdoor scenes overblown. You can compensate with the manual mode, but the thing is, there isn't one.
Take it then.
Yan. Yan, model ah.
Another thing I noticed is that if you're completely outside, it doesn't seem to have a problem with taking in light. I guess indoor clips with a strong light source outside are where it struggles at. I'm indeed impressed with how this phone looks. Glyphs aside, the phone's UI looks very unique compared to modern smartphones. And they also maintain the design language even with the charging cable and SIM ejector tool. That looks cool as shit.
Jessica, anong masasabi mo sa quality ng beach dito?
I think it's fair enough. Although it's black, standing everything, it satisfies my soul.
Despite the camera and the beach being a bit mid, at least there's a coffee shop here worth visiting. As I mentioned, the photo quality won't get you an award, but it's good enough, I guess. I forgot to quickly mention the button layout. The lock button is on the right side while the volume rockers are on the left corner of the phone. There's also a fingerprint reader underneath the glass.
Oy! Ano nangyari sa'yo?
We decided to go back to our place to catch up with some sleep, and here's a sample of the selfie camera video, which can only go up to 1080p at 60 fps.
Pero gusto ko rin na mag-tacos.
Tacos?
Ano gusto mo?
Tacos.
Tacos?
After enduring a wild snorefest from our tired travelers, we decided to grab some dinner nearby. Again, you'll start to notice the unstable shaky footage once you start shooting in low light both at the front and rear camera. We arrived at a place that again reminded us of Bali. It's a pretty posh place with enough lighting to produce great videos, although the photos, you decide. I'm starting to think that maybe this is a photography skill issue. The color temperature of the photos changed too when switching to the ultra-wide lens, which is kinda weird. To be fair, I find the video quality at low light quite okay actually, and pretty impressive if you disregard the weak stabilization. You won't notice noise in the videos, but overall it's not that sharp. Nightlife in this area is pretty popular, so we went bar hopping, and by hopping, I meant just one place. Panning with this phone gives me a small headache, although I'm surprised that it got the colors right even in this dimly lit place. And the glyphs fit perfectly with this kind of vibe. What's crazy is that even at almost 10 PM, this still has enough juice for more recording. At 10:51 PM, we called it a day early since we were all tired from the long-ass trip.
Jay ka naman, idol.
The walk back gave me more seizure-inducing rolling shutter from the video output, but I guess it's a good replication of what people see when they're drunk. We ended the night with some snacks, and at 11:58 PM, it still had 21% battery. That's pretty good considering I have been using this non-stop since around 4 AM, with the mobile data always on. The next day, the owner of the phone came and we explored the place more. I got stung by a jellyfish and it rained non-stop afterwards, so that was fun. In conclusion, it's a very unique phone. It doesn't have the best specs or camera results. It has no wireless charging and no memory card slot, and Instagram is kinda buggy sometimes. It also doesn't have a local photo album, but it uses Google Photos instead. I'm not sure if it uses the local storage or the Google Cloud, but it's a weird thing to not have your own local album. Battery is pretty crazy though, since I used this from around 4 AM until almost midnight, and it still has around 20% battery left. For almost 20 hours, I didn't have to charge this once. That's insane. And they have been shooting and Instagramming non-stop. Is that a word? They claim that you can charge this phone from 0 to 100 in an hour with 45 watts charging. Anyway, it's a pretty smooth performing phone, it's very customizable, and the design elements are very unique. I find the glyphs reacting to you changing the volume pretty cool, but you'll obviously have to flip the phone to see it, which makes all of these glyphs features seem gimmicky to me. But it still looks awesome, man. Kinda wish they integrated the glyphs with the flashlight though. At 350 American schmackaroons, I'd say this is a solid phone. Very unique, the camera is okay, and I would definitely get one if Samsung didn't exist in the Philippines. Thanks for watching and subscribe, I guess.